Gentlemen, a ticket.
You had $12 coming.
Thank you. I hope to see you again.
Yeah, so do I.
This is my first visit at the racetrack. I never dreamed it could be so much fun.
Well, I'm glad you're enjoying yourself. It can be exciting.
You bet it's fun, and it's always exciting. That's why racing is the most popular spectator sport in America. Just look at the fans here today. They'll number over 10,000, and what they are engaged in is really a love affair with Maryland's greatest sporting heritage. A sport, a tradition, a business, which, when all its aspects are considered, adds up to a more than $100 million a year industry. The Maryland racing industry culminates at the track, but it really springs from the very soil of one of America's most beautiful states. Soil rich in lime and nutrients necessary to the breeding and raising of thoroughbred horses. Today, in 19 of Maryland's 23 counties, more than 460 farms are combining to make Maryland the nation's fourth largest producer of racehorses. More than 1,100 thoroughbreds were foaled on these farms last year, and the number grows annually. For sheer beauty, Maryland's farms equal the finest in the nation. Look, for instance, at Alfred Gwynn Vanderbilt's Sagamore Farm in the Worthington Valley. Here, the late and great native dancer stood at stud. Here, mares from all over the world are sent for service. Here, with its indoor and outdoor training tracks, its immaculate barns painted in the famed cerise and white of the Vanderbilt colors, and its spacious and gracious fields, is the epitome of horse breeding farms. Look, for instance, at the wonderful complex of farms at Chesapeake City in Cecil County. Owners operating farms in this area have combined to form the Cecil County and Eastern Shore Thoroughbreds organization, dedicated to bringing the best stallions in the nation to Maryland. One of its founders is Mrs. Richard C. DuPont. And when you mention Mrs. DuPont, you have to think of Kelso, one of the greatest racing has known. Look, for instance, at Yankeeland Farms, a sprawling 110-acre complex where some of the finest trotting horses in America are raised, most of them with the word Yankee in their names, which is not surprising, because the farm's owner is none other than Charlie Keller, the great New York Yankee star, who compiled a batting average of .306 in 4 World Series. Look, for instance, at Halcyon Farm, owned by J. Fred Colwell, chief steward for Maryland's tracks. It's smaller, yes, than Sagamore or Chesapeake City, but with its rolling contours and lovely pastures, it typifies the beauty of the state's breeding industry. And that same industry has produced bloodlines and horses famed the world over.
Well, that is interesting. I never knew breeding horses could be such big business.
Maryland received international acclaim when the Queen of England sent her mare, Near Miss, to be bred to native dancer. And do you remember the worldwide acclaim when Maryland's J. Trump, a horse purchased for a pittance, went to England and won the Grand National with Maryland's own Tommy Smith in the saddle? Marylanders start their love affair with thoroughbreds and racing at a very early age. These youngsters are taking part in an annual horse and pony show staged each year at Timonium. Shows such as this are financed by monies held by the Maryland State Fair Board. Each year, Maryland Racing allocates $350,000 to the Maryland State Fair Board for the promotion of fairs or exhibits in every county in the state. The Maryland Horse Breeders Association also receives $3,000 a year from each major track to help finance its work and the publication of its magazine, The Maryland Horse. And of course, behind the whole horse industry are the many farms dotted across Maryland, where hay and straw are grown for the sole purpose of feed and bedding for Maryland's thoroughbred. Well, now here's a new arrival. He's shaky and confused, but mother's there. And so is wonderful springtime in Maryland. Next New Year's Day, he'll be 1 year old. And the year after that, he'll be 2 and ready to take his place in a post parade. But between now and then, he'll be subjected to the care and attention of people who are all part of a major industry. His daily diet will be a carefully blended scientific mixture of sweet feed and oats and supplementary vitamins. He'll grow strong, romping in the fields with other yearlings. But soon it will be time to go to school. First, he'll have to be broken to a saddle. He'll have to start training in earnest. He'll have to get used to a starting gait. And although he might make it directly to the track, it might be that he'll first find himself at the auction sales at Timonium. Here is one of the truly exciting events in the thoroughbred business. Here is where a horseman gambles his knowledge of breeding. Here is where he hopes to pick up a bargain, a Cinderella horse. Or here is where he is willing to put up big money to buy the progeny of proven bloodlines. But now the time has come. Now a specially constructed van brings the young one to where the action is, the racetrack. It could be Bowie, Laurel, Pimlico, Marlborough, Hagerstown, Fair Hill, or Timonium, where fans have the added pleasure of enjoying the state fair. Or it could be the racer is a trotting horse. With their nighttime meets, Maryland's 3 trotting tracks, Laurel Raceway, Ocean Downs, and Rosecroft are becoming ever more popular with the fans. The trotters and pacers have a special beauty of their own. But whether it's a thoroughbred track or a trotting track, the horse now becomes part of a scene that embraces the lives of thousands of people, above and beyond the fans. It becomes part of a scene that means millions of dollars annually in payrolls and in direct taxes to the state. On any given day at one of Maryland's tracks, as many as 1,500 persons may be employed. The jobs are myriad. The grooms, the tractor drivers, the film patrol, admission clerks, parking attendants, the patrol judges, the clerk of scales, exercise boys, the sports riders, the hot walkers, the track security men, the waiters, the news vendors, the program sellers, the mutual sellers, the bugler, jockey's agent, the blacksmith, veterinarian's track photographer, the identifier, the outriders. Overseeing this vast complex of activity is Maryland's 5-man board of racing commissioners, comprised of Chairman D. Eldred Reinhardt, Carl A. Jackson, Newton Brewer, Samuel Stoffberg, and E. Taylor Tuning. Their vital functions are to supervise Maryland racing according to the state laws, to protect the interests of the state and the public, to assign racing dates, and to generally administer the sport in such a manner as to maintain Maryland's reputation as one of the nation's great racing states. Working directly under the commission are the stewards, headed by J. Fred Colwell. Their function is to protect the interests of the betting public by observing every race to make sure it is run according to the rules. If there is any question, participating jockeys are called before the stewards for interviews, and films of the race are studied. Once they have their facts, the stewards have the authority to disqualify horses which have fouled other horses, or to levy fines or suspensions against jockeys or horsemen who have violated the strict rules of the sport. Meanwhile, the fans, the people who really make racing a reality, wager their dollars, more than $240 million annually. What happens to your dollar when you bet it at a racetrack? After the race has been run, roughly 87 cents out of each dollar wagered goes back to the players holding winning tickets. 8 cents goes to the racetrack management, out of which it must apply 4.34 cents to the purses offered the horsemen. 5 cents goes directly to the state of Maryland, which annually grosses in excess of $12 million in direct taxes on dollars wagered. The 5% which goes to the state and the 8% which goes to the racetrack make up 13%. This 13% plus the 87% returned to the public totals 100%. But out of the racetrack's 8%, there are several subdivisions. The first of these is purse money. Maryland is unique. It is the only state in America which requires, by law, that a fixed percentage of the income goes to Maryland horsemen in the form of purse money. It is stated in the actual laws of the state that 4.34% of every dollar wagered is returned to horsemen in the form of purse money. The 34/100ths part of the 4.34 is the Maryland Fund program, which was inaugurated in 1962. This 34/100ths part goes to owners of winning horses and also to breeders of winning horses. All these horses must, of course, have been bred in Maryland to be eligible to compete in Maryland Fund races. In addition to the deduction of 4.34% from the 8%, the 3-mile tracks must also take 1/2 which is turned over to the Maryland Racing Commission to be held in escrow for a capital improvement program. This means that every time a racetrack wants to physically improve its property and to recover a part of this money, it must go, with its complete plans, to the Maryland Racing Commission. There are still further benefits to horse breeders in Maryland. Let's hear about them from Snowden Carter, General Manager of the Maryland Horse Breeders Association.
During the past 6 years, the quality and size of the Maryland horse breeding industry has grown in an absolutely dramatic fashion. Back around 1960 or 1961, if a Maryland bred during the course of a year won a $15,000 stake race, it was almost automatically voted the best Maryland bred horse of the year. Now, to get that honor, a horse almost has to win the Kentucky Derby. In fact, 2 of the last 3 Kentucky Derbies were won by Maryland bred horses. Quiet King won the Kentucky Derby and also the Preakness in 1966. Dancer's Image was a disqualified Kentucky Derby winner in 1968. And Barb's Delight in 1967 finished second in the Kentucky Derby. We also have the nation's greatest race mare today, Politely, who is a Maryland bred. Foaled and raised in Chesapeake City, Politely has earned almost $300,000 and is being ranked as one of the greatest race mares ever to perform in this country.
These gentlemen, both horsemen, are Glenn C. Smith at right and Jack Boniface, President and Field Secretary, respectively, for the Horsemen's Protective and Benevolent Association. Theirs is a vital and extremely active organization, dedicated to protecting the interests of the horsemen, the people who put on the show. The HPBA's main function is to negotiate the highest possible purses for the owners and to keep a watchful eye on general conditions affecting the horsemen, such as the safety and suitability of the stabling areas. So you see, racing is far more than just the fun of betting on a winner. It's one of Maryland's greatest industries. It's also one of the greatest tourist attractions any state can possibly have. Whenever one of Maryland's great racing fixtures, the Preakness, the Washington, D.C. International, or the Campbell Stakes are run, tourist license plates look like a roll call of the 50 states. These visitors bring with them not only money to wager through the mutuals, but also hundreds of thousands of dollars to be spent in Maryland's retail stores. Well, of course, racing has its millionaires. But one of the fascinating things about the sport is that you never can tell when you might have a horse that can become a champion. Look at this modest half-acre paddock. This is the backyard at the home of Mr. and Mrs. L. Franklin Price in Timonium. And this is where a racehorse named Yes You Will grew up.
He started the first time in a maiden race at Bel Air. Later, you could have claimed him for $4,000, but nobody did.
And so what happened? Yes You Will went on to become one of the greatest Cinderella horses in Maryland's history. In 1960, he was entered in the state's richest handicap race, the Campbell Stakes at Bowie. Now watch and thrill with all who love a rags to riches story as Yes You Will takes on the top handicap horses in the nation.
The seventh running of the John B. Campbell Handicap. Getting the lead, Talent Show, then Greek Star, Restless Wind, Open View, Better Be, On and On, Yes You Will, and King O'Turf. Into the clubhouse turn, it's Restless Wind and Better Be racing for the lead. Then Greek Star, On and Yes You Will. They swing on around the clubhouse turn. It's Restless Wind leading by a length. Then Better Be and Greek Star, On and On. They swing on around the turn. Yes You Will getting the lead now, drawing out by a length and a half. It's Yes You Will by 2 now. Restless Wind, then Better Be. It's Yes You Will, Restless Wind, and Better Be. They're in the stretch, 3/16 of a mile to go. And it's Yes You Will showing the way by 4 lengths. It's Yes You Will by 4. Then Restless Wind. It's Yes You Will, Restless Wind. It's Yes You Will showing the way. Restless Wind closing in again. It's Yes You Will and Restless Wind. Yes You Will leading. There's the finish. It's Yes You Will the winner. Restless Wind and Amerigo third.
That victory meant $74,000 to Mr. and Mrs. Price, owners of a 1/2 acre paddock. The Campbell is only one of 3 great Maryland races known the world over. In 1952, John D. Shapiro, president of Laurel, inaugurated what has become known as the Washington, D.C. Laurel International, a 1.5-mile race over the turf, to which champion horses from nations all over the world have been invited. The International today is one of racing's greatest classics. Over the years, horses have represented Russia, France, Germany, England, Canada, Japan, Australia, Argentina, Chile, Peru, the United States, Ireland, and Venezuela. The pageantry is beautiful, and each passing year brings more and more notoriety to the only true international race in the world. To Marylanders, and perhaps to all sentimental racing fans, the most gratifying international of all occurred in 1964. That was the year when the great Kelso set a new course record. Kelso, known as Kelly to the fans, one of the greatest all-time horses who won nearly $2 million in his career, seemed destined to always be runner-up in the International. Twice, the gelding had been runner-up, beaten first by TV Lark and then by Mongo, and there were those who thought he just wasn't his best on the turf. Then came 1964, and this is what happened.
They're off. The 13th International underway. It's Biscayne from Ireland getting the lead, but here comes the United States Gunbow to get the lead now on the inside with Kelso moving up the challenge on the outside. They round the far turn the first time. It's Gunbow showing the way by a length and a half. Kelso second, Biscayne third, Belle Succumbre is fourth, and a line fifth, Ryu Farrell, Veronese, and Primordial. They swing on around the turn. Gunbow leading now by 2.5 lengths. Kelso is second, Belle Succumbre third, then Ryu Farrell and Biscayne. Through the stretch the first time, it's Gunbo out on the lead. Kelso is second. Belle Sacombre, then Ryu Farrell, Biscayne, and Analine. Passing the stands, it's Gunbo showing the way by 4 lengths. Kelso second, then Belle Sacombre, Ryu Farrell. Nearing the clubhouse turn, it's Gunbo out with a commanding lead of 4 lengths. It's Gunbo, Kelso, Belle Sacombre, and Ryu Farrell. They swing into the clubhouse turn. It's Gunbo showing the way. They round the far turn. It's Gunbo on the inside, Kelso on the outside. They're stride for stride. It's Gunbo, Kelso, both boys fighting it out. It's Kelso on the outside, and Gunbo. They're stride for stride, a gap of 8 lengths. Then it's Belle Sacombre. They swing on around the turn. It's Kelso with a slight lead now on the outside. Gunbo on the inside. Then it's Belle Sacombre and Analine from Russia moving up 4th, 3/16 to go. It's Kelso on the outside. Gunbo, Kelso and Gunbo. They're stride for stride. Then it's Belle Sacombre and Analine. It's Kelso drawing clear now. Kelso by 2.5. Kelso on the lead with Gunbo second. It's Kelso out showing the way. Kelso by 4. It's Kelso leading. And there's the wire. It's Kelso the winner by 4 lengths. Then Gunbo, Analine, Biscayne, Belle Sacombre.
And so to Kelso came a long-sought prize. And to his owner, Mrs. Richard C. DuPont, and her Woodstock stable, one of racing's most cherished victories. But now it is an afternoon in May at Maryland's oldest racetrack, and it's time for Maryland's contribution to the Triple Crown in American racing, the Preakness. Tradition surrounds the Preakness. It's known as the Run for the Black-Eyed Susans, but everyone knows they are Shasta daisies with the centers painted black with shoe polish, because Black-Eyed Susans are not in season in May. The prize, aside from the purse, is a replica of the famed Woodlawn vase. This beautiful silver trophy was buried underground during the Civil War to protect it from invading soldiers. In 1966, Marylanders awaited the 90th running of the Preakness with intense excitement. Their favorite, a powerful Maryland-bred son of native dancer, 2 weeks before had won the Kentucky Derby. His name, Kauai King. This was not just another Preakness. It was a chance to put Maryland on the map as a revitalized source of championship breeding. The afternoon was beautiful, the track fast, the distance 1 mile and 3/16. This is what happened.
The 1966 Preakness at Pimlico. It's Kauai King, Advocator, Indulto, Stupendous, Rehabilitating, and Blue Skyer on the outside. Passing the stands the first time, it's Kauai King. Here comes Stupendous up to challenge. Advocator third, Blue Skyer on the outside, then Indulto. During the clubhouse turn, it's Kauai King and Stupendous there, stride for the lead. Kauai King on the inside, Stupendous on the outside, Advocator, Blue Skyer, then Indulto. They swing on around the turn. It's Stupendous on the outside, leading by a half length. Kauai King is second. Blue Skyer third. Advocator is fourth. They're in the back stretch, and it's Stupendous showing the way by 2. Kauai King second by 2.5 lengths, with Blue Skyer running third. Into the far turn, Stupendous leading by 2 lengths. Kauai King second by 3. Indulto on the inside. Advocator on the outside. It's Blue Skyer. They swing on around the far turn. Stupendous showing the way by 2.5 lengths. Kauai King second by 2. Indulto is third. On the outside, it's Advocator. Then it's Blue Skyer and Understanding. They swing on around the turn. It's Stupendous leading by 1.25 lengths. Kauai King moving in on the leader. It's Stupendous and Kauai King on the outside. Indulto on the outside, it's Advocator. Then Blue Skyer and Amberoid is beginning to move. They're in the stretch, 3/16 to go. It's Stupendous and Kauai King. They're stride for the stride. It's Kauai King on the outside getting the lead. Stupendous, then Indulto and Amberoid. Here they come. It's Kauai King out showing the way. Kauai King, Stupendous and Amberoid. It's Kauai King leading, then Stupendous, Kauai King, Stupendous and Amberoid. Kauai King out in front. Kauai King, and there's the wire. Kauai King the winner by 1.75 lengths. Stupendous second with Amberoid running third.
It was one of Kauai King's greatest victories in a racing career which was to end a few months later due to injuries. But now Kauai King is standing at stud in Maryland, keeping our state in the forefront of the breeding industry.
That brings back memories. That's a very impressive story.
Yes, this is racing at its best. This is the cream on top of a vast complex of horses, farms, and people that combined and blend into a sport that is truly an industry in Maryland. Maryland, a land, a way of life that can pridefully be called one of the foremost racing and breeding states in the nation.